Well, hello friends, and welcome back to the cabin. I'll tell you, I'll be so excited when this solar gets all put together and it's up and running. I have bought so many little parts for this, but I'll take you out here and show you. I have an idea on how I'm going to brace this thing. So let me show you what I picked up. Well, what I picked up was 8 of these gate hinges like this. They're not very big, but I've got an idea on making some braces down there for those solar arrays. I picked up 8 of those because I got 4 posts on each one. And then I've got 60 of the 1.5-inch screws right here. And of course I picked up another one of these. You always need a spray bottle, right? Then I got a couple of sticks of all thread. My idea is to drill a hole wherever the angle is right through the post. And I'll take you down here in just a second. We'll get a 2x4 and I'll show you the idea that I have on being able to brace the solar arrays. So my idea is if I take the 2x4 and I can screw that onto here, then I can run this up and screw it into that right there, and then I can drill my hole right here to put my all thread through, and I'm going to put one of these on every post. So that way when I change the angle, because this will actually set more like this in the summertime, then by leaving these a little bit extra long, I can run that up through there. Well, it would be more at an angle kind of like this right here, to where it would support that at a different angle. And then I'll have to drill another hole in here at that point. But yeah, I think that that's going to be a good idea because, like I say, I can actually screw that right in there like that. I don't have to scab anything on there, the hinge. It just allows me to change directions basically. I could have used a piece of angle iron, but these were cheaper, and I don't think that that's going to go anywhere once I install those, and I'll have one on every post. So it should work out really well. Like I said, I've got 8 of these, so there's 4 on this row and 4 on that row. I need to get some pressure treated lumber though, because I don't have any. This actually came on a pallet, and I'm looking for more like a 2x4, like I say. But when I get those, then I think that this is going to work out really well, and it was very inexpensive to do it that way. Well, now that I've shown you what my idea is, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut some regular 2x4s and see how this is going to work, because I can always replace them. Because I tell you what, town is crazy now since all of that, the aftermath of the flooding that came through. They're distributing supplies and water and goods and food and things like that to people in town, and it's just crazy and trying to get in and out. So I was thinking, since they're going to kind of be protected anyway, and they'll be underneath the solar array, and I have the overhang on my panels, they should be protected from weather quite a bit. So they would last probably several years if I just used some lumber like this and went ahead and treated it with my timber oil. But to save from having to go back and get pressure treated, like I say, if it works, I can always just unscrew it and cut the same size 2x4, drill a hole in there, and put it right back in. But I thought that I would try this because I think that it's going to work, and like I said, it was inexpensive. So, well, I say it was inexpensive. These right here, these 8 plus 60 of those bolts, or screws I should say, 2 sticks of this little 3/8 all thread, and this 80 some odd dollars. Okay, so compared to everything else I've been buying, that was cheap. It was more inexpensive than buying something else, because, and the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to brace it at each post, hopefully, because if we get a strong wind, it will help to keep the wind from torquing the array that I've got down there. If I've got it at each post, it would have to break that support before it could twist or rack that in, and I just don't think that it would do 4 of them like that with the wind that we get up here. So I'm hoping that this might sustain, you know, maybe 50-60 mile an hour winds any higher. I probably won't be here. I'll probably take off and go hide somewhere else, or we don't have the root cellar made yet, but I could do that. And had a good suggestion too, because somebody said you might want to put or build it big enough where you can put a bunk in there so that you could ride out a storm. And actually that's not a bad idea, because folks, have you ever seen weather patterns like we have seen in the last, just say, 5 years? Never in my life have I seen it this way, with the rain and the wind and some areas, you know, the snow and the ice and things like that. Things are changing. But anyway, I'm hoping that this will work and take care of bracing those down there so that we can withstand, you know, moderate winds that may come through. Well, I was down here putting up some tools, and I looked at my adze sitting over there. I was clearing out a spot to put something else where the adze was sitting, and check out what I found. I believe I've got a pet mouse hanging around in there somewhere. So hopefully one of the dogs will spot it and get after it and run it off. But I'll tell you, having something like that to protect your tools is really valuable, because the tool is as only good as its blade in this case, right? And if the blade's not any good, then the tool isn't any good. So this helps to protect the blade if you were to put it down to keep it from, you know, bumping on a rock or something that could put a chip into the blade. So I'll have to make another one. But yeah, I never even knew that that was happening. You know, I didn't say that I myself, you know, and some other guys from the church have been helping to hand out things to folks. And I think next time what we're going to do is we're just going to load it up in the truck and like drive over to North Carolina and hand it out, because that area up there, not only was this area affected bad, but that area was a whole lot worse. And in town there's provisions where people can come and get things, but once you get heading in this direction and you get up into the mountains, some of those people are isolated, you know, like an island, because the road or the bridge is gone in different directions and they have no way out. So they've been airlifting things in. People with four-wheelers, you know, tracking through the mountains and stuff, have been helping people out. So yeah, we've been doing all we can. I'll tell you what, it's still hard to imagine the impact that that water had all the way down. I got a little story to tell you. Our church van had got stolen, I think it was about a week ago, and it was posted on Facebook, I believe. The pastor had done that. Anyway, we were at the church. We were handing out provisions to people that needed it. You know, they'd come by and we would just, you know, give them a box and they'd go through, get whatever they wanted. We were sure to load them up with some water before they left. And we even loaded up one vehicle that was going to North Carolina yesterday to help out up there. But anyway, while we were handing water out, some of us guys, we walked up into the parking lot and we were sitting there talking, and this truck drives in. The people, they pulled up to in front of the church actually, and we were sitting across the parking lot, and they asked for the pastor. So he walks over there and we could hear him talking, and then he got to looking at something, and so then he starts walking back over towards us. The vehicle backs out and takes off. He said, they found our church van. Now what was funny is it was seen, I think, the next day in a county nearby, which was about 40 miles away, and one of the traffic cams had picked it up, right? And so we figured that, you know, it's probably long gone. It was already reported to the insurance company. They said, well, we'll wait for 30 days, and if it doesn't show up, then we'll settle, you know. So anyway, the thing about it is, when he comes back walking over there to us, he said, they found it. And we said, well, where's it at? He said, I'm going to go check it out. And we said, well, where's it at? 2 driveways over from me. Not really, because there's quite a bit of property between here and there, but as far as driveways go, yeah, about 2 driveways from me. And it's just on the hill of the other house that I had built, which you guys have probably seen it in some of the videos. It was hid in the back of the church back there, up on top of the hill. And of course, you know, you can barely see all of the church because it sits up on top of a big hill. And then in behind it, you know, and there's a fairly nice house up in behind that too. And the funny thing is, nobody's living there. So it had to be local. Somebody that probably drove by the church every day that's seen it and decided they were going to go through the trouble to get it. Now, they did break the steering column, you know, and hot wire it where they could take it. They did scrape the lettering off the side. They did sand the emblem off. But other than that, probably ran a tank of gas out. They drove it up there and set. Now, the thing about that little church is it's been there for probably, I don't know, maybe 100 years. I can remember when we first came here, we went to church up there back when I was just knee-high to a grasshopper, right? And they still had an outhouse there. So since then, though, they have made some indoor facilities. But the thing is, we found it, right? The guy said, he told the pastor, he said, we think that this is your van because we've seen it on Facebook. He said, yeah, that's our van. So he said if I had to do it all over again, he said I would have just called 911, let them handle it. We waited on an officer for 2 hours. Now, we're only 20 minutes from town. But we waited on the officer. He said, well, they sent him to one church. They sent him. Now, I talked to them, 911, 3 different times. And I told them where I was at, where I was located. It was at the corner of these 2 roads, right, to where they could find me. And they had him everywhere. But anyway, he finally did come. We told him, you know, we just wanted to stay there and guard it because it needs to go through the proper channels. And we're just going to have it towed in. You know, we weren't going to get in the middle of anything until the insurance company and everyone was satisfied with, you know, what had transpired. But isn't it funny that they stole it from one church and we found it at another one? So that just goes to show you, you know, God is good. We must be living right to bring us back to the van that was stolen. And it wasn't, what, maybe 2 miles away. It's about 2 miles from this church over here to the church where I attend. So that was really a blessing in disguise that somebody drove up while we were trying to give back to folks. They actually ended up giving us our van back. Anyway, friends, I hope that you enjoyed that little story, and be sure, you know, and have, like I say, all these folks in your minds and in your prayers because they certainly need it. Anyway, thanks so much for stopping by. We certainly do appreciate that, and we look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.